Hello, everyone. It is pre-Christmas week, and that means we've got a lot of fun stuff, awesome streams, and festivities in store. But in particular today, first of all, I just went through some massive technical difficulties that basically almost gave me a heart attack right before I started my stream. Plus, yesterday was my day off, which we'll recap, and there's a lot of game news going on as well. So there's a lot to talk about. All this and more on today's Level 1 podcast. Alrighty, everybody. So happy holidays, season's greetings, and the like. Today is Friday, the 15th of December, 2023. We are only a little over a week away from Christmas. We are only 8 days away from my annual Christmas marathon event here on DSPGaming. And so, we're kicking it into high gear with all the hoopla and the holiday fun. I hope that you're having a festive time in your own personal lives. If not, hopefully soon, right? Listen, I totally get it if you have not gotten around to anything festive yet. It's pretty crazy right now in the world. You know, the last couple of weeks on my day off, I've had to go out and spend the entire day out because of appointments and stuff. And it is wild out there. Like, there's tons of traffic. People are upset. The world is a shambles, as they say. But hopefully, everything will start to calm down and people will be able to settle in and actually have a good holiday time coming up. For me, as you know, this time of year, we're usually wrapping stuff up. Meaning, usually this time of year, there's not a heck of a lot going on. But this year, it's the opposite. Because this year, I just started playing the game of the year, Baldur's Gate 3, which, of course, everyone is excited to see me continue and see how the playthrough goes. Plus, I've got other ongoing playthroughs, interesting events going on. Like, tonight might be the final stream of Street Fighter 6 that I do for a while, which would be crazy because it's been part of my regular schedule pretty much since June. So, a lot of stuff going on. And obviously, I'm excited to jump back in. But before we even get to any of that, I had a crisis this morning. So basically, here's the deal. When I have my day off, all right, I make it so that everything is usually lined up so I do not have to come into this office at all on my day off, okay? So, you know, what was it? Wednesday night, we had our Modern Warfare 3 stream, which, by the way, if you didn't see Modern Warfare 3 on Wednesday night, people voted for multiplayer. I unlocked the dual Renetti handguns. That was the best night I've ever had. More kills, more kill streaks. One game, I had 3 Juggernaut kill streaks in a row. I actually got my first ever Chopper Gunner. And in a single match, I got 40 kills. Okay? If you want to see me go ham, because I was being silly, I was singing Christmas songs and everything while I was playing, check out the Modern Warfare 3 videos from Wednesday night. You're going to have a great time. It's a perfect example of when the game goes right and things are just being silly, how fun that game can actually be. Okay? Anyway, so after that, you know, I basically had a lot of extra work to do in the office because I'm setting everything up so that I don't have to be in here at all on Thursday, my day off. So, you know, I'm setting up the advanced playlist. I'm uploading the videos. I'm doing everything far in advance. And, you know, I was actually in here late getting all that work done and everything. You know, film the daily wrap, upload everything. And everything was fine. So I walked out of here, and yesterday was a pretty fun day. We'll talk about that in a second because I know people are going to want to have a Phil's Day Off segment. Actually, it was one of the better days that I had with my wife, which was surprising because we thought it was going to be stressful, but I'll explain in a minute. And so, this morning, all right, you know, I wake up and everything's normal, having a fun day with the fam, as they say, downstairs, having a coffee, having a bagel. All the woodland creatures are outside going crazy because we put out some nuts in the morning. And, they're eating everything. So I'm nothing wrong or anything like that. Everything should be fine. So I finish my breakfast and I come up here and I walk into the office. It's oddly quiet. I'm like, why is it so quiet in here? I don't really hear any of the ambient noises that are normal for this office. I don't get why I'm not hearing anything at all. I start looking around. Well, I can see on my right-hand side of my office, everything's powered. Like, I can see that my capture device is lit. The little router that I have on the floor that splits the internet to all the consoles, that's lit. Okay. I turn to the left to all the equipment on the left-hand side of the office. Everything's off. And I'm like, huh? What's going on? And I walk over and I push the power button on my PC and it won't turn on. And I said, oh no. Don't tell me that there was something, a power surge, a spike. Don't tell me that my stuff's fried. Not only, because like I said, it wasn't just the PC, but other stuff too. I was like, oh no. Don't tell me now that this has happened and half the equipment in my room is dead. But by the way, this would not be the first time this has ever happened to me if it happened. When I was in my 20s, okay, and I was living with my parents at the time, I used to be a PC enthusiast. Yes, I know today it's quite the opposite. I don't really care for PCs that much. I don't build them. I don't play games on them. But back then I was. And I had multiple PCs, gaming rigs that I had built from scratch in my parents' house. I actually had a network in my house where the two were networked. And I would have friends come over and we would play like Unreal Tournament and stuff together online, which was really fun. So one time I went to a video game tournament. It was a Street Fighter tournament for the weekend. So I leave and I come back and my parents say, so we don't want you to freak out, but we had a power storm, a lightning storm while you were gone. Now, normally this wouldn't be a big deal, except the lightning bolt came down and hit the power line down the street. We could see it. The whole thing was on fire. So the fire department had to come and they had to release it. We didn't have power for a day. And we don't know what happened in the house. Now, the thing is, I had all my equipment plugged into surge protectors. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I started turning everything on. One of my PCs had completely fried. It wouldn't turn on. The components didn't work. Somehow it had received an actual shock through the lines. And this PC, luckily this was my lower end gaming PC. One was probably a $2,000 rig. And I would say this one was probably around $1,000 maybe. But the whole thing, wow. Well, that's just great. And I'm not even kidding. That was about the time that I actually stopped building PCs. That was around, I would probably say, just thinking in my head, probably 2004 or something like that, But since then, I kind of fell out of love with PCs. I was like, if at a moment's notice, even if it's plugged into a surge protector, something like this can happen and you lose $1,000, I don't think this is a very good hobby to have, right? So I stopped, and then since then I haven't cared. So anyway, flash forward to today. I'm looking at all my equipment. I'm like, oh my God, this feels exactly like that day. I was like, this is not good. If everything in this office is fried, because you got to understand, on my left hand of my office is my PC, 2 monitors, obviously all the accessories that are plugged directly into, say, that power line or into that PC itself, speakers and all kinds of stuff there, my microphone and everything there. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is really, really bad. If everything just fried, this is potentially thousands of dollars of damage. And not only do I have to replace it, but I have to replace it fast so I can work. What would be my backup? I would have to stream from my phone for a few days, just dicking around, I guess. I wouldn't be able to do gameplay. I have a mini PC, but how am I going to set that up to stream? It's not meant for that. It's probably going to run way too hot to do it. I would have to install OBS scenes and shit into it. I would have to run wires across the room. It's not ideal. I don't really have an emergency backup. I have a low-end PC in my closet that I could probably hook up and get to work just for basic use, but I doubt it would be good for capturing games or anything like that. So I could probably do podcasts and stuff for a week, and that's about it. I wouldn't be able to do gameplay until I replaced my PC to be able to do something. So I was really, really nervous. Okay? So the good news is it was basically the best case scenario out of a bad occurrence. My stupid battery backup died. I don't know what it is about these battery backups. They suck. They really do. So you're supposed to buy a battery backup, and what it's supposed to do is create backup power for all of your devices if your power goes out. So for example, the last thing you would want is your PC to just turn off without a proper shutdown sequence, right? You could have corruption in files. You can have all kinds of bad things that happen. So by having a battery backup, what's supposed to happen is if your power flickers or goes out, your PC warns you. You'll hear a big beep. Oh, power's out. You now have like 20 minutes to shut down all applications and shut down your PC so that you don't lose anything. And I've always had one of these, just to be clear. Ever since I started doing YouTube like 15 years ago, I've always had a battery backup. But these things are so shitty. Even the ones that are supposed to be good are shitty. They don't warn you when they're dying. Like, you would think, okay, if it's starting to die, it would give you some warning. It would flicker. It would maybe have a beep that says, hey, FYI, battery is failing. Buy a new one. No, these things just overnight turn off. And this is probably the third time in my history as a content creator that this has happened to me. And it terrified me. I genuinely had thought that my stuff had broken. And it wasn't. It's just the battery backup doesn't work. Okay? So, nothing happened. We had no inclement weather, no fluctuations in power. It just died on my day off. And luckily for me, I have a power strip. It's not a battery backup, but it's just a regular surge protector power strip thing that I've had for ages. And it happens to be an extra one lying around. I was like, okay, thank God I have a backup there. At least now, for the short term, I can plug all my stuff back in. I can get the setup up and running again. And at least we can work. And what I'll have to do is over the next few weeks, I'll see what's on sale. Usually I have post-Christmas sales and shit like that online. I'll see if I can find one that normally maybe would have been a good one, but it's on discount or something like that online. Because these things can be pricey. Like, you can get a cheap one for under $100, and usually those are terrible. Like, usually those have, like, no features. They have failures and stuff like that. You could get one for like $1,000. I'm not kidding. Yes, you could buy a battery backup for like $1,000, but that's more like if you're maintaining a server farm with a lot of valuable data, and you don't want any of that to corrupt. So you want to have something that gives you like 2 hours of backup time if your power goes out, which I don't need. Like, I literally just need it to warn me if the power went out, so I can run up here and shut everything down or whatever, and then leave. That's it. That's all I need. In this case, that's what I mean. In this case, this thing died and made no noise. Or if it did, maybe it was during my day out yesterday. Maybe I wasn't home, so I didn't hear it going beep, beep, beep. That could be. That could have been what happened. Anyway, so I was nervous, and luckily crisis averted for now. But sadly, it means now I got to dump some money. In the next few weeks to month, I got to find another one, a replacement, and buy it. Because you really should have a battery backup when you have a streaming setup or anything like this. You want to make sure your equipment doesn't get ruined. You know, my PC is old. It's almost a decade old. I got it in 2014, right? So basically, in this case, I don't want power fluctuations hitting this thing. This thing could likely be on its last legs. Like last week, remember, it was making noise. So I opened it up during my RoboCop stream, and I found 2 of the fans had died. But this thing has like 12 fans. Like, it has 2 fans on this side, 2 fans on that side, two fans on the underside, 2 fans on the back, and 2 fans on the front. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 10 fans. Plus the internal fans, like the fans on the graphics card, the fans on the processor. So this thing has like insane amounts of fans. So for a couple to die is not a big deal. This thing's a decade old. It's kind of expected, right? So it's starting to get old. It's dirty. I'm looking into actually also buying a device that it's like an air blower, so you could clean out all the dust from the inside, because it was disgusting. Like, I opened it and my hands were covered in black dust. Like, oh my god, this thing's fucking nasty. So likely I'm gonna have to do some stuff, not only backup battery, but maybe a cleaning device and all that kind of stuff, hopefully in the next month. You know, typically this time of the year is the better time of the year for me. We got better streams, you know, Christmas event coming up. Usually I raise a few extra funds, so I'd be able to dump something hopefully on some of this stuff that I need to keep stuff going. Of course, again, here we go. Ideally, yes, I want to replace everything. Ideally, I would like to do a complete, upgrade. Whole new PC. We talked about it last year. Never got around to it. And the good thing is, it's a good thing we didn't, because I've heard that now PC components not only have advanced, but have gotten a lot cheaper. Remember a year ago, everyone was still doing that cryptocurrency bullshit with their graphics cards, and now apparently that's crashed. Like, the cryptocurrency market's crashed. So now apparently PC components are a lot cheaper. So maybe when I'm finally around to doing it, maybe next year, it'll be a lot cheaper. You know, instead of looking at a $3,000 PC, maybe we're looking at like a $1,500 PC that does the same thing. That'd be pretty amazing. So I guess we'll have to see. Okay. So anyway, that's my story for that. I mean, crisis averted, thank goodness, and it's not a big deal. Everything's working. It's plugged into a surge protector. I just need to get another battery backup. But it scared me. I almost pooped myself. I'm not going to lie. If everything had died, like, it's one thing if one component dies. If the PC dies, that would really suck. Like, no exaggeration. For a day or two, I'd have to be streaming from my phone temporarily. Like, I'd probably find a way to mount my phone over here where the camera is and try to do a stream or two. And then I'd probably have to, like, mess with, like, either the mini PC or my old backup PC, which is over a decade old, just to get basics. Like, if I could just film the podcast or just a show where I talk to you guys for a few days until I can figure something out, like to order a new PC or something. You know what I mean? But we'll see what happens. Hope for the best. Oh, yeah? Battleduck says, the GPU manufacturers are still riding the stupid price level wave. They're keeping their stock short. So they're scumbags. Got it. Just like the gasoline providers. Gotcha. That's very nice to hear. Okay. I would have literally defecated there in my office. Well, likely what would have happened was I would have and I would have just run to the bathroom and got there just in time, hopefully. Because that would just extrapolate the situation. If I not only did my components die, but I also defecated in my pants, it would probably just make it worse, right? So, luckily my bathroom's right around the corner. There you go. That's what's going on now. Hopefully everything's fine and we don't have any further technical difficulties today. That'd be nice. So, where do we start? Well, yesterday was my day off. So before we start talking about updates on my games, updates on the schedule, game news and the like, how about we do a little segment that you guys like to call Phil's Day Off? Why not? Why not just get to that segment and get it out of the way? I almost forgot it last week. All right. So yesterday was my day off from streaming. What that means is, as I said, I literally unplug from work. I don't pay attention usually to anything work related. Maybe a few times a day if I have like some downtime between stuff, like if my wife's getting ready to go out for the day and I have like a half an hour to myself to sit on the couch and browse the internet, I'll read some news stories on Twitter or something like that. But for the most part, I try to completely unplug from anything serious and just have a good time with my wife or this is the day for in-person interactions. When you're someone like me who's stuck at home 6 days a week full time with a streaming job, this is my day where I'm out and about all day long. So last week I had a bunch of appointments, and this week was no exception. We basically crammed all of like 2-3 months of appointments into two days. Okay, so we were all over the place yesterday, and like I'm trying to remember the order of events. There's nothing super notable. Here's the thing: I could easily tell you about my whole day out. I could, but as you know, with the weirdo stalkers on the internet and these people who like to harass me and my family, I don't like talking about half the shit that we did. You know, we had some personal stuff going on. We had certain appointments and stuff. It's like if I tell you what it is, oh my god. Then people freak out and they want to know more, or they try to delve into our shit that has nothing to do with them. And you know what I mean? It's really messed up. Let's just put it this way. The appointments weren't fun. Let's just put it that way. It wasn't like, oh, these were great appointments. Like last week I had a haircut. Okay. It was nothing like that. It was more very annoying, very stupid, tedious, very, necessary for life, but really not very fun things. Some worrying things, annoying things. And it also sucks that, of course, you have to do this around the holidays. Would have been better to maybe get this done earlier in the year. But like I said, our year's been crazy. And a lot of things that kind of got messed up this year when we were sick and everything. So we're basically playing catch-up on a lot of shit that just needed to get done. But the good news is, let me put it this way. How can I put it into a frame of reference that makes sense but doesn't expose us for our horrible things that we do on our day off, right? You don't want to know about all of our horrible criminal actions that we do every single day on Thursday, right? So basically this time around, like there's some things we had to do yesterday that we've done before that are never fun, but this time around they weren't nearly as annoying. Like one time we had to do something and it just ended up ruining our whole day. It was just such an unpleasant, really annoying experience, and this time around it wasn't nearly as bad as last time, and we were kind of dreading it because last time it really sucked, and this time it just didn't. It wasn't that bad, and we were like, oh, okay, well that's not so bad. Now hopefully it doesn't ruin the rest of our day like it did last time. And that's what it was like. It was basically like a series of things that could have been annoying and really been shitty, and they weren't. Like, for example, last week when we went grocery shopping, it was a nightmare. There was a million people in the store. It was congested as shit. The lines were out the ass. This week when we went grocery shopping, the store was like half empty, and we're like, what happened? It's the same day of the week. It's the same time. For some odd reason, the store was half empty. Trust me, we weren't complaining. We were very happy about that. We're like, okay, we can just get our grocery shopping done fast and move on with the rest of our day and do things that we want to do, as opposed to, being stuck doing shitty stuff. So, what other stuff did we do? We went to the pet store. What's really cool is at one of our local pet stores, they have a bunch of cats that they have up for adoption there. So they have like a cat room with a bunch of kitties that you can interact with. And it's cute. I mean, we're not looking for another cat. Jasper is our one and only. He's not the kind of cat that would ever get along with other cats. He is one of those cats that absolutely wants all the attention all the time. And if something else is taking up the attention, he actually acts up, like he misbehaves to get attention so that you'll give it back to him, which obviously is not ideal, but it's just life. Certain cats are like that, right? So in regards to Jasper, no, we're not looking for another kitty or anything like that, because we know that it would basically upset him. I'm trying to turn this green. There we go. But we do like looking at other cats and interacting with them. And they had a bunch of they had some kittens. They had younger creatures and stuff. It was pretty good. It was a pretty good time out playing with these kitties. And we had some errands and shopping to do, but it wasn't annoying. That was the thing. Like, it ended up not being very annoying, which was good. We had to get a few things for the house and stuff like that while we were out. And while I was out, I did get something that I'm going to try as a taste test during my holiday marathon. It's going to be the last thing we do together, actually, during the holiday marathon, kind of the conclusion video. It's basically a dessert. It's a holiday dessert, the likes of which I have heard before. Okay, I know about this from, like, holiday lore. I know about it, but I have never once tried it, and they had it at a store, and I bought it. Okay? So, this will be pretty cool, because I'm excited to see what this will be. We've done this on previous Christmas events, Christmas holiday marathons. Not last year, because last year, by the end of the marathon, I wasn't feeling good, actually. Like, my stomach was killing me. But other years, we've done things like fruitcake, Stollen, little mince pies. So every year, we usually do something different. Last year was the year where we didn't. But I'm excited to try this, I said tomorrow almost. Next week. It's actually a week from tomorrow is the marathon. So, it's going to be cool. So, we did a lot of stuff. And we had the option, we either could have eaten out somewhere, or we could have gone home and ordered in. And the thing was, we were exhausted. Last week, on our day out, we didn't get home till like 9 p.m. Like, it was really late when we got home, and we were super tired. And we didn't want to have a day out like that this week. So we ended up coming home. I want to say we got home around like 6:30-ish. And then as we were unpacking all our stuff, we ordered some food in, and we actually got some Indian food. It was good. I always whenever we order Indian food, I typically order like a veggie curry, because it's an opportunity for me to eat vegetarian food and enjoy it. I almost never eat vegetarian food at all. I always get some kind of protein. But whenever we order Indian, I try to make it a point to get vegetarian, because it's good food. So one of the few things that I would actually eat vegetarian style. So I got this one. It was potato and peas in a curry that was kind of spicy. And my wife got chicken tikka masala. We got some naan bread. You dip in your curry, which is super good. And we got some veggie samosas. So they were delicious. It was good Indian food. And then, so listen to this, because you guys always ask, what kind of stuff do your wife and you do together when you're not on stream? What's your personal life like? And I always answer, well, sometimes we watch some TV, sometimes we listen to some music, but I never really give you specifics, all right? Today, I actually have some specifics, because yesterday, my wife is looking for something like a game to play. Excuse me. My wife is looking for a game to play, all right, until next month, because next month, there's going to be some games out that she's interested in, notably Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. She's super excited for. Like, she's stoked. That's her first big game of 2024 that she can't wait to play. All right? But in the meantime, she's looking for some stuff, and she has Game Pass just like me, and she jumped on there, and they had, get this, Goat Simulator 3. Now, this is a game that came out last year. Now, I didn't play it, but I was interested in it. I said it looks funny. Maybe it's a game that I should play, but we never got around to it. So she says, I've heard it's pretty funny. Let's try it. Let's play it. right? So she got it, and she starts playing it, and that game is absolutely hilarious. That game, it's silly fun. It's not anything super serious at all. It's literally a mess around, enjoy, like it's a relaxing, have fun, don't take it seriously, and just laugh your ass off style game. Are there some challenging things? There absolutely are. There's platforming stuff that's tough. There's certain things you got to do that are a little annoying. But at the same time, like, the game is hilarious. Like, for some odd reason, the goat can drive vehicles like it's Grand Theft Auto. It steals vehicles, it drives around. Like, what? It's got silly references to, like, IKEA and other stuff in it. It's just got all these, like, references to stuff in real life that are hilarious. But it's got over-the-top zany humor and stuff. And of all things, how funny is this? The hub of the game, like where you go to unlock levels for the goat and stages and challenges, is a giant gothic castle. Which my wife loves gothic castle style stuff. Like, she likes medieval stuff, knights and stuff. She likes fantasy games. She likes Dark Souls stuff. So it's hilarious because it's right up her alley. And I'm like, what were the chances that in a goat game, the base where you do stuff and expands is like a gothic castle? Who'd have thought that with a goat, you know? But it's a great game. So we actually played together. Basically, I was watching her play, but there was a few platforming things that were kind of tricky. And I said, well, I play these fucking games all day. Let me see if I can do it. So I actually helped her do a couple of tricky platforming things that she couldn't do. And there was this one particular thing that really annoyed us. There was a challenge, and it said, do a 720 double backflip or double forward flip. Okay, so 720 means 2 rotations. Do it. We kept doing it. It never counted. We're like, why is it not counting? It's blatantly saying on the screen you did a double backflip or a double front flip. It's never counting for the challenge. Like, why is this not, you know, I don't get it. I don't understand it. And basically, come to find out, they don't want you to just do a flip. They also want you rotating another direction too. So you have to jump, start flipping, and then hold like left or right angled, so you're like completely spinning in this weird ball movement. And it's like, how would that work? It doesn't even make sense. It doesn't describe it right. The game has a lot of stuff like that. But anyway, Goat Simulator 3, it's a funny ass game, and I recommend it for someone who's just looking for like a mess around time and just wants to have silly fun. It's a silly fun game for sure, and we had a great time playing it. Like, she played it mostly, but I watched her play it and I helped her with a few parts. It was really, really fun. I know she's going to be playing more of that. And then they actually, for those who aren't aware, they just added Far Cry 6 to Game Pass. And I played that last year, and I actually thought it was significantly better than Far Cry 4 and 5, even though there was some really stupidly annoying parts. There were some really good parts. And I think that they refined the gameplay and the graphics, and it's a really fun sandbox-style game with a better location, by the way, than 4 and 5 as well. So I recommend it if you're looking for an open-world game with a lot of content. It's actually better than the last few. And so you're like, well, I was going to get the Avatar game, but they're charging full price, and I don't want to get, you know, the Ubisoft Plus to play it. Well, if you didn't play Far Cry 6, it's on Game Pass right now. Okay. So there you go. So that's really was our day off. Nothing too crazy, except we were just out and about all day again. We got home, and we ordered some Indian food, played some Goat Simulator 3, had a relaxing day after that. It was pretty good. All right, there you go. Now, you know what? What we're really looking forward to is that was it. Like, we had our 2 big weeks out where we had to run around doing a million errands and stuff. Now we're done. We don't have to do crazy stuff anymore for the rest of the month. So next week, our day off is the day home. I'll still have to go out and run some errands and stuff. But for the most part, a lot of it will be stayed home relaxing. And then after that, it's Christmas week. So, there you go. Okay. There's your Phil's Day Off segment. All said and done. Ladies and gentlemen, a couple quick updates. Number 1, Baldur's Gate 3 continues today. It is the main gameplay stream today. We already have over 500 people on the stream. Wow, welcome. I'm sure there'll be even more when I actually start playing the game. As you know, if you watch Wednesday's stream, I feel like I'm getting better at the game, but it's basically, let me put it this way. It's frustrating for me, and here's why. For me, I'm the kind of guy that I like to jump into a game and say within a couple of streams, I like to get a grasp on it. I like to feel more settled in and enjoying it and kind of getting everything that's going on. I do prefer games, this is truthful, I do prefer games where they're kind of easy to pick up, you know, maybe harder to master, but easy to pick up, you know. For me, when I start a game franchise that's so foreign to me, that I don't understand the mechanics, I don't understand the lore, I don't understand the basics, right? It's tough. And it's funny because there's definitely game universes like this, particularly from soft games, where not everything is self-explanatory, and you have to either play a lot to kind of discover everything for yourself through trial and error, or you have to spend a significant amount of time almost like researching and studying. Maybe you have to watch someone else play, or you have to do your research yourself online, wikis and shit, to learn everything. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just not the kind of game that I enjoy as much. I do prefer a game that I can just jump into and learn within a stream or two, and I like games that tell you how to play them, and, you know, makes it easier as a streamer. You know, I'm not just playing the game for me. This is not, oh, I'm investing time because I want to play this game and enjoy it. I'm also trying to put out an entertaining product for my audience. And I do feel these harder games with these giant learning curves just aren't that entertaining to watch when I'm flubbing it, not knowing what I'm doing, right? And so I'll say this, like last stream, in the 3 hours that I played, we went through an entire optional dungeon. During that optional dungeon, I learned a bunch of gameplay mechanics that I did not understand up to that point. So that was definitely a very good thing. I used all my party members for the first time, essentially, learning their abilities and things like that. So that was a good thing. And basically, we got a good advancement in the story. Not too far, but, you know, we recruited a new party member who's now part of the main party that I'm going to be using in combat because she's a warrior, so that's much better to have variety. I need, like, a tank character, and she's basically it. And we got to a town, and now we're investigating this town, and all this lore is unlocking and stuff in the town, and that's very good. That's all well and good, very fun, right? But I feel like it's a slow process, and what I mean by that is, sadly, it's not a game that I'm easily jumping into and learning right away, and it is frustrating because I'm the kind of guy that I want to feel like every piece of content I'm putting out is entertaining to you. I'm not particularly sure when I'm in the midst of doing something in the game and I just don't understand it, and I have to ask the audience, so how does this work? So how does that work? I don't get this, or I try to do something for myself and I do it wrong because I didn't understand it, and then everyone in chat tries to correct me. No, you see, this is how it goes, this is how it goes. Yeah, I already made the mistake. This is very frustrating, right? You know, that does annoy me. And again, that's not necessarily the fault of anything here. This is a franchise. I never played this style of game really before besides Divinity 2. This is a little different. It's got the D&D elements in it. I've never played D&D before in my life. Never tabletop, never a game, nothing. I think the only D&D game I ever played was the side-scrolling beat-em-up from the arcade days, you know? And that plays nothing like this, trust me. So, I'm learning, and I'm enjoying, but I have to apologize if the content seems like it's moving like a snail's pace, and I'm not necessarily doing very well. I know I'm not. Like, I know that I could be doing much better. And I'm making mistakes constantly because I don't really know what I'm doing yet. I do feel like if I dedicate myself to it, and as long as you guys, as I've said, this game is a game that absolutely lends itself to stream engagement and interaction. Because you guys know way better than me, right? You do. You probably played this game and others in the series. You know all about it. You know how it works. You know the lore of D&D. You know everything. So you're going to help me to not only learn and adapt and hopefully play better, but also to enjoy this game more. By having that engagement with you, my audience, it's going to allow for this playthrough to be more enjoyable for both sides, I feel, right? If this was just me sitting here playing it myself, it would probably be the most frustrating experience, much like when I played Dark Souls 1 in 2011, and I quit. I quit at Blighttown. I said, I had enough. I can't play this game anymore, right? But thankfully, that's not the case anymore, all right? I'm an interactive streamer. We have this great social experience while I play games, and that's part of the fun of it. So, I'm happy, and I'm grateful for all of you being here, but I hope that you will stick around. Again, I am kind of nervous because it's such a lengthy RPG, and right now we're at the very beginning. So I kind of figured the first few streams would go really well. We'd have people. I just hope you guys will stick around. I want you to stick around to help me enjoy this game. I feel like that's part of the experience is you guys being here to help me with the gameplay elements and the lore. Like, for example, apparently I walked right by this guy. Well, you don't see him. He's on my dashboard. I guess his name is Will. I must have walked right by him in the town. I didn't even notice he was there. So I walked right by him, and I was going to explore the rest of the town, and you guys are like, no, turn around. There's a party member that's really good that you might miss if you don't go talk to him now. I was like, what? You know? It's so easy to miss stuff in this, too, I feel, right? So, I'm happy that you guys are here. I hope that you'll continue to come by, hang out, engage, support, of course, and make it as good of a playthrough as it's been to now. I'm enjoying myself, and I hope that we can stay at that level. I hope that it doesn't get to the point where people get disengaged, they're not that interested anymore, now they go off and they're not talking to me anymore, and I honestly, this is not the kind of game I would want to play by myself. I'm just being honest. Like, I feel like this is a better interactive experience with all of us together because it is such a learning experience. You know, I compare this to Persona, and I compare this to Yakuza, where those were franchises previously I had never really heard about them. I didn't know much about them. You guys convinced me to try, and through us playing those games together via streaming, I ended up enjoying them, and not only did I end up enjoying them, now they're part of my staple experience of games that I love playing, right? So perhaps that could happen with this if we keep it up. But I hope that we keep it up. I mean, it's a 100-hour freaking game, and we have a month to basically focus on it until other major stuff comes out in January. So now is the time to enjoy it and have a good time with it together, right? So I hope we can keep that going. Okay. So that's good. Now, Wednesday night was wild. On Wednesday night, I played Modern Warfare 3, and we had a poll up. Did you want to see Warzone, or did you want to see multiplayer? And the poll ended on multiplayer, and of course, then when I booted up multiplayer, people voted the other way and said they wanted Warzone because they're contrarian jerks. So I guess I should have just immediately closed the poll as I booted the game up. But anyway, I'm very glad that I played the multiplayer. Here's why. I unlocked the dual or akimbo Renetti handguns. I immediately equipped giant ammo drums to them. I equipped the triggers that make them fire almost double speed. And through a series of attachments, I basically made the game so stupidly silly and fun for no good reason. Like, it's not competitive in any way. Do you really think in real life, if someone was running around with 2 handguns, that they would be defeating people with machine, rifles and fucking assault rifles and shotguns? No. The asshole would try to run around and fire his 2 handguns, he'd get destroyed. But the game is so dumb, it actually makes it one of the best, like, loadouts you can have in the game. I'm running around at maximum speed around the map like an asshole, and I'm just unloading into lines of enemies, never running out of bullets. I'm mowing everybody down. It's John Woo. It's John Woo in a video game. It makes no sense that it should even be in there, but it's so brokenly fun. I had, no exaggeration, the best night of Modern Warfare 3 ever. I had the most kill streaks, the best kill death ratios. One match, I had 40 kills, like 29 captures, because I believe it was kill confirmed, and like 10 deaths. So it was like a 4.0 kill death ratio, insane points. One match, I had 3 different juggernauts summoned. One match, I had Chopper Gunner. It was my first Chopper Gunner of the game. And then I went on to have that Chopper Gunner kill like 12 or 13 people. So it was wild. It was absolutely insane. And like I said, I was playing on maps like Rust, and I was singing Christmas carols as I played, making up silly lyrics as I did. It was really fun, and people loved it. People said that was like one of, if not my best stream of Modern Warfare 3 ever so far. And now people are like, oh, will you play it again? I'm like, yeah, I will, but let's not go crazy. Let's maybe do it like once a week or something. When we have a night when we want variety, let's squeeze it in there. But let's not go crazy and have it too often now, because then it'll get boring again, right? Definitely the dual Renettis is stupidly fun, and it just makes the game so ridiculous that it's hilarious to play. I can't imagine why it would ever work, but it works. So, it was fun, and I'm looking forward to more. Thanks to everyone who was there. Check out the videos if you didn't. They are hilarious, for sure. And more coming this week, okay? Speaking of which, now, let's get to this week. So today, more Baldur's Gate 3. So welcome, everyone, all 497 of you. Apparently, I lost viewers. That's great. All 497 of you who are here for Baldur's Gate 3, welcome. Once this podcast ends around like 12:45-ish, we'll jump into Baldur's Gate, and excited for that. I don't know what we're doing today because, we're heading into this town that I had gotten to, and it seems like there's multiple quests there. I mean, obviously there's a new party member to recruit, as you guys had told me, but I guess there's one area where there's a bunch of animals and druids. I guess you could talk to the animals. There's another area with another quest. There's different things to do. We're looking for a healer to try to get these weird mind flayer parasites out of our body. I guess that's the main plot right now. But yeah, I'm excited for today. I'm sure you guys are going to be here to chill with me and have a good time, and it should be a good stream, and hopefully we continue with progress and everyone, enjoys, and we'll see how it goes. I don't know. I have no clue how I could even talk about it. I don't know what's coming up today, but hopefully it's good. Tonight's late stream, all right, is kind of bittersweet, and here's why I say that. I've been playing Street Fighter 6 fairly consistently since it released in early June. There was about a month there where I barely played it because I was so inundated with all the new releases, right, that I didn't really have time for it. And in addition to that, I got sick, so I had to play catch up and all that. So I didn't play it for like a month. But then I brought it back in November. And ever since November, this last month, I focused on Dalsim, got really good with him, hit Master Rank. And then I hit a wall because the game plays like shit at Master Rank, which isn't the case previously. Previously, the Master Rank wasn't this bad, but now the problem is almost everyone's hitting Master Rank, just grinding and sucking, but they still hit it anyway. So I got everyone there with the worst connections, big lag spikes, input drops, and you can't play Dalsim in that environment. Dalsim needs a better connection environment to win because he's a character. One mistake, someone's on your body, you're done. You can't get them off of you. It's so hard. You have to get lucky to stop rushdown and stuff with Dalsim. It's really messed up. So, the deal is, tonight is kind of the last hurrah for Street Fighter 6 for now. And when I say for now, I mean I'm not retiring the game. That's ridiculous. I like it. It's just unfortunate that you climb the mountain to get to Master, and when you get there, someone runs up and kicks you straight in the balls. Because that's exactly what it feels like. You're working your butt off to get a character to Master. You get there, and immediately the online experience tanks and feels laggy and shitty. It's like, what happened here? Right? Why are the connections better in Diamond than when I hit Master? It's dumb. So, one final Friday Night Fights, Street Fighter 6 Dalsim tonight. Okay? We'll see how it goes. If it happens to go much better than Monday night and the connections are better, then maybe I'll keep going. If it ends up being laggy and frustrating, we're going to retire it for now. Now, when I say retire it, I mean it's out of the regular rotation. But if and when the new DLC characters come out, we still have Ed and Akuma, I'm going to check them out. I'm going to go back to the game periodically to check it out. And, you know, at any time in the future, I may bring it back and go back to maybe some of my characters like Blanca. I haven't played with in ages, and people are like, man, your Blanca was good. Why don't you go back to him and stuff like that? You know, we'll see. We'll essentially see how it goes as I continue on. But, you know, right now, I'll be honest, with those connections, I really don't have much incentive or feeling to really want to play again. It actually literally deflated me and made me not want to play Street Fighter 6 when how bad it was on Monday. So I guess we'll see how it goes tonight. Now, here's the thing. Number one, we didn't finish the story. The story still has a finale to do. But it's incredibly challenging for what I've heard. Incredibly, like, ridiculously unbalanced and unfair. We could definitely do it at some point. I don't know if we want to do it right now. We could easily do it maybe end of December, early January. I know people have been like, when the hell are you going to finish the story? It's been 6 months. So we essentially, we will finish the story, I promise you. I just don't know when yet, okay? Now, in regards to other fighting games, Street Fighter 6 is not the only one. First of all, we all know that coming in January is Tekken 8. And yes, I absolutely want to check it out. It's going to have a story mode. It's going to have online play. I will give it a look. Will I play it as much as Street Fighter 6? Probably not. I don't play Tekken at a competitive level. I just don't. Like, I haven't been good at Tekken since Tekken 3. It's a long time. You know, it was the 1990s. So, for me, it's more getting a general understanding of the game, going online and having some fun against people who aren't very good at it, right? And enjoying it for what it is, and then kind of after playing it for a little bit, kind of saying, okay, I had my fun, but eventually what's going to happen is I'm going to hit a wall. This is what happened with Tekken 7. I got to a point where, unless I was going to dedicate a significant amount of time and effort to learn juggle mechanics, counter hit mechanics, wall bounce mechanics, just frame mechanics, all these mechanics that I didn't understand about the game, unless I was going to study up, watch videos, practice constantly, and learn character-specific techniques, I was never going to do better online. I'd hit this point where I just couldn't advance anymore. Everyone else was much better than me. I don't know if I'm going to do that in Tekken. You know, is there a demand for that? Would you guys even want to see me put a ton of time, and maybe Friday Night Fights becomes Friday Night Tekken, where every Friday we're playing Tekken and trying to learn and level up? I don't know if people like it that much around these streams. Like, Street Fighter is one thing. I grew up with it, so you have that crowd, but I don't know if you guys would like Tekken that much to see that. I don't know. We'll see. Let me put it this way. We'll tackle it when we get there. We don't even know how the game's going to play online. The game could be a laggy mess, in which case none of this matters. It's all a moot point. No one wants to see me play a laggy-ass game, right? So I guess we'll see what happens. But Tekken will be coming at the end of January, and we'll see how it goes when I play it. Fair enough? But in the meantime, if I end up retiring Street Fighter now, I mean, we've got over a month till Tekken 8 comes out, right? So what we could do is I could get my mini PC up and running again, and we could try to get Fightcade working on there. For those who don't know, Fightcade is an online emulation suite featuring rollback netcode. You all know how I feel about rollback netcode, but it is what it is, I guess. It's what everyone loves. So basically, you can play all classic fighting games on there, including games like Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. Capcom vs. SNK 2, I think, is on there. All the old CPS 2 video games. So, for example, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo and the entire Street Fighter Alpha series. Which we also play Alpha 2. I haven't played it in a zillion years. It would be really fun to play that game again. But also the Versus series of games, all the way up to Marvel vs. Capcom 1, I believe, is on there. And I love those. X-Men vs. Street Fighter, oh my god, it's one of the most fun games ever made. It's so brokenly, hilariously fun. Every character has an infinite, including Dalsim has a stretchy leg infinite. I'm not kidding you. He can kick stretchy legs across the screen and get you to the corner and juggle you with an infinite in the corner. It's hilariously silly. It's a great game in that regard. It's just so fun. So, if I can get Fightcade working, right, we could play a variety of fighting games every time. Like, we could do, like, twice a week. We do Friday Night Fights and one other night. And every time it could even be a different game. Like, there's so many retro games. I could jump between them. Your favorites, I could play a little more. But I'd be down for that. That'd be pretty fun, I feel. But we got to get it working. And someone actually sent me, I want to give a shout out. Someone sent me a guide on how to do it. I don't have time right now to sit down and figure it out. Maybe over the weekend. Maybe I'll have a chance to sit down and try to put time into it. You know. Lucky Gremlin says Fightcade has tons of cheaters. I would not recommend it. Well, you do realize that, see, this is the double-edged sword. Alright? This is absolutely the double-edged sword. If you want to play retro fighting games, right? Sadly, they have not really released any viable collections of these games in the last 10 years. They just haven't. The last one I remember Street Fighter 3 Third Strike Online Edition. That one was good. And that was on, like, Xbox 360 and PS3, and they haven't had another good version since then. Since then, it's been, like, the 30th Anniversary Collection, which runs like shit, has the wrong speeds, has insane amounts of lag, online lobbies where you have absolutely no moderation options, so anyone could just, fuck the game up, and now no one can play. It's just a piece of dog shit. And that was the one I played for like 4 years because there was nothing else. Then they came out with the Capcom Fighting Collection, which was a cool collection because it had a mix of classic games along with, like, Darkstalkers and stuff, which was really fun, but no one bought it. Like, literally no one bought it. Capcom failed at marketing. They thought that, like, paying Justin Wong to talk about this game at a tournament and recording him and putting it online, that was marketing for the game. It's idiocy. They didn't set up anything to promote it. No community events, nothing. They're morons. So the game tanked. No one bought the fucking thing. So there's no one playing it. So essentially, that's the problem, is right now, there's no viable way to play the classic fighters online. On a console, I should say. The only real way to do it that apparently there is a regular player base is Fightcade. But you're right, like Lucky Gremlin said, people cheat. What they do is they macro everything. So they basically, because they're on a PC, they have the ability to program everything in as a macro sequence. So it's like, oh, I'm playing Super Turbo. I press this button and it immediately gives me perfect reversal Shoryuken. Wait, what? Yeah, you don't have to do the input. You just do Shoryuken, Shoryuken, Shoryuken. Now, you could do that in Street Fighter 6, modern mode, right? But it's not broken because the inputs in Street Fighter 6 are supposed to be easy. In Super Turbo, they're supposed to be difficult. So, by making something as dumbed down as press one button and get like a combo or get a certain move, you've essentially taken the skill level out of the game. You're fighting a perfect AI boss, essentially, then, who can just do everything on the fly with absolutely no skill level. It breaks the game. So, you're right. And there's absolutely people who cheat like that on Fightcade. I'm well aware of it. 100% I'm well aware of that. That's what I was telling you guys for years when I was trying to play these console versions of retro games, and people were like, why don't you just play Fightcade? I was like, do you even know what you're asking? You understand the can of worms you're opening when you play Fightcade. Like, a lot of people on there are tryhard cheaters. I don't know why, because no one gives a fuck about Fightcade rankings. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But, yeah, they cheat anyway. It's like anything in life. Everyone has to cheat to get ahead, even though there's no meaning behind what they're cheating at. It doesn't even make sense, but they do, Just like I'm sure there's the world champion Tiddlywinks player, and there's the world's greatest egg hand exercise squeezer. He holds the record for how many consecutive squeezes. Who gives a fuck? But these are how these people are. They're just fucking crazy people who think that this matters. So, If you're not aware, Tiddlywinks is real. It actually is a game. Look it up. Anyway, so we'll see. Like, if Street Fighter 6 does not go well tonight, and we decide against playing it again for now, I'd be okay with trying to get Fightcade working on my mini PC and doing some retro stuff. But I'd have to spend some time doing it, figuring it out, maybe over the weekend, maybe like Sunday or something. I could try to figure this out. And it would be awesome to here we go. We're gonna do a throwback stream tonight. The one bummer, because it's PC centric, I'd have to figure out, like, I'd have to pull that keyboard and mouse over here. The mouse I could probably fit on my table. I don't have a clue where the keyboard would have to be on the floor to get it to work, because those aren't wireless. Those are wired. I mean, they are long wires though. I guess we'd have to fuck around with it and just try to get the setup working so that I could control. Because the thing is, it's a PC app. It's not console. So I'd have to basically get that working to select. I want to select. I'm trying to play this person and do that. You know, you need the PC components to do it. You need the mouse and keyboard. So we'll figure it out. But anyway, we'll see. Let's see how it goes tonight. 6:45 p.m. Pacific time. Maybe Street Fighter 6 will go well, and then we'll want to keep it up. I don't know. Let's find out tonight. Last hurrah for Street Fighter 6 for now. Let's see how it goes. Kind of a make or break stream, and we'll go from there. So Saturday, we're mixing it up. It's going to be RoboCop paired with Like a Dragon Gaiden. Sunday is my React day for the week. And so Sunday, I said Sunday, right? It's DSP versus the Internet. Special holiday videos and stuff being nominated right now for my React stuff. I hope you guys will join me for that on Sunday on my sister channel, DSP Reacts. Sunday night, I'm here. For the first time in 3 weeks, I'm actually here on a Sunday night. And I think we should do like a Modern Warfare stream because the last one went so hilariously well. Let's do Modern Warfare 3 again on Sunday night. Let's go Guns Akimbo again. Let's see if I can top 40 kills. That would be my goal. Can I get a game where I actually get more than 40 kills with the Guns Akimbo this time? Let's find out. So that'll be Sunday night. So then Monday again will be more Baldur's Gate. And Monday night, it could be Street Fighter 6, or we could maybe do Fightcade. Let's figure it out. And then Tuesday will probably be more RoboCop and more Like a Dragon, and then Wednesday more Baldur's Gate, and then whatever Wednesday night, whatever we want. We could do a Street Fighter stream. We could do more Modern Warfare. We'll see what you guys want. Okay, so there you go. That's the streaming week. Radical Jaw says, will you check out the DLC characters when they come out? I already said yes. When the DLC characters come out for Street Fighter 6, I'm still going to check them out. I own the season pass. Absolutely, I'll go back at that. At the minimum, I'll go back at those points. But I may go back other times as well. All right. Okay, but now, guys, this is the final week before Christmas, okay? Next week is Christmas week, which means next week is totally different. So when I'm off from streaming on Thursday. When I come back on Friday the 22nd, it's a normal streaming day. It'll be Baldur's Gate 3 and something on that night, whether it's fighting games or not. We'll figure it out depending on how this week goes. All right? Saturday the 23rd is my Christmas marathon event. All right? It's going to look just like this. Ready? Hold on. This is what it's going to look like and sound like. Live from Rockefeller Center in New York City, it's DSP's annual Christmas Spectacular. What will I be doing? Well, allow me to tell you what I'll be doing. All right? Number one, I'll be in festive Christmas attire, much like you saw right there in that little promo. Okay? Number two, I'll be drinking. I'm probably going to have eggnog and other things to drink during the course of the day. And unlike other events where I'm like, oh, you have to hit a certain level for me to drink, I'm just going to drink all day. I'm not going to be, oh, I want to hit a support level to take a shot or anything like that. I'm just going to have a few drinks over the course of the day. All right, number three, we're going to be updating the gaming schedule, meaning for the first time in many months, we're going to go through all the game releases and mark them on a calendar and say, this is what's coming out, so you guys know exactly what's happening and what games I'll be playing, okay? Number four, we're going to be doing a tier maker where we're going to rank Christmas movies and specials against each other. What are the best ones ever? Number five, we're going to be playing video games. 3 different ones. Well, 2 different ones, guaranteed. Maybe a third if we have time. One will be chosen by channel members exclusively in a members-only thread that's posted on the main channel page right now. One is open to you, so type !Christmas into the chat. And when you do that, you'll see a thread pop up. That's where you can nominate games. That nomination will run for just under 1 more week. I'll probably close it off at the end of this week, and then a poll will go live. You guys will vote on to determine the game or games that will be played during the marathon. We're going to play at least 2, if not 3 games during the marathon, time permitting. Okay? Then, there's also going to be food. I'm going to order a meal live for delivery that day on the 23rd for an episode of Festive Feasting with Phil. That's what I'm going to call it. Triple F. Festive Feasting with Phil. And the finale of the show will be me trying a Christmas dessert item. As I told you, I bought it at a store yesterday, and I'll be doing that live to close the show. All right? So that's going to be super duper fun. I love doing my annual Christmas marathon. That is Saturday the 23rd here live on DSP Gaming all day long. I hope you'll join me for the vibes. Why the 23rd and not the 24th or 25th, which is Christmas Eve or Christmas Day? Because you guys are going to be busy those days. I don't want to take you up your time on those actual days. I'd much rather have it a day before, so that way you can spend time with your family and friends and not worry about missing my live marathon. You know what I mean? I will be here on Sunday the 24th, but it will be DSP versus the Internet, a react show, and I'll probably like a festive edition of that. But that's all I'm doing that day. I'm not going to be doing any other content. I'm taking that night off to spend with my family, and then all day Christmas Day, I'm also off from streaming. But I'll be back that Tuesday and Wednesday for 2 more streaming days. Okay? So, all right. So that's what's coming up on the schedule. I hope that sounds good. Today, my goals, since it is a full streaming day for me, a double stream day. Goal number 1, I'd like to hit 660 members by the end of today. That's between this Baldur's Gate 3 stream and the Street Fighter 6 stream later tonight. Will I actually hit it? I don't know. We'll see. But if you support the channel, perhaps you'd like to consider becoming a member today or gifting some memberships to your fellow viewers. 'Tis the season to be generous, as they say. Thank you in advance to anyone who would become a member today or support the channel via memberships. And then the other goal is to hit the tier 1 tips goal, both streams. All right, $50. If we exceed it, that would be amazing. That would help a lot right now. So please consider tipping today. It's a great way to support the channel. No matter how you contribute, I will give you a shout out live during the stream. All right, gaming news. It's our favorite segment, and I want to get into this because there is some interesting gaming news to talk about, but we're running out of time. Well, I'm not going to not do gaming news, so screw all that. Gaming news today, 2 big stories. Story number 1, A24, which is the movie studio behind Academy Award-winning films, such as Everything Everywhere All at Once, has announced they have partnered with Hideo Kojima and Kojima Productions. They are going to adapt Death Stranding to be a movie. Now, wait a minute. When I was playing Death Stranding, didn't I say something very distinctly? Do you guys remember? Here's the clip. Okay, I don't have the clip. But I distinctly remember during the playthrough. Here's what I said. I said, this game is essentially one of the best stories I've ever seen. The story is insanely unique, well acted, well written, well directed. The parts of the game that fail are the gameplay elements. The gameplay elements of walking around delivering packages in the middle of a fucking mountainy, idiotic area, it sucks. But the story's great. And when the game ended, I was like, dude, that ending was amazing. Like, I can't wait for more. I hope they make a sequel. Which they are making, by the way. So, basically, I said, you know what should have happened is Hideo Kojima should be a director. He shouldn't be making games. He should be directing movies. I would love those movies. Incidentally, his next game is called OD, and he's teaming up with who? Right? Jordan Peele, a horror director, to make a horror game. And he even said we're teaming up with other real people from the industry as well. So it's funny because they're making a game that probably isn't going to be a game. How much you want to bet it's going to be an interactive movie? I almost guarantee it, right? But anyway, this is cool. I'm glad that Death Stranding will become a movie. My question is, why wasn't it a movie to begin with? Right? Okay, the other news story, I got a good amount to say. We're running out of time, so I have to deliver this story in an abridged fashion. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read word for word from the Naughty Dog blog what they posted up yesterday. An update on The Last of Us Online. We realize many of you have been anticipating news around the project that we've been calling The Last of Us Online. There's no easy way to say this. We made the incredibly difficult decision to stop development on the game. We know this news will be tough for many, especially dedicated Last of Us factions community, who have been following our multiplayer ambitions ardently. We're equally crushed at the studio. We're looking forward to putting this in your hands. We wanted to share with you some background on how we came to this decision. The multiplayer team has been in pre-production with this game since we were working on The Last of Us Part 2, crafting an experience we felt was unique and had tremendous potential. By the way, already he's lied. So I'm going to continue on and tell you the truth because we already know the truth. He's changing history here to make it sound different. By the way, this is Neil Druckmann writing this. Even if you can't tell, it doesn't say Neil Druckmann on it. He totally wrote this post. As the multiplayer team iterated on their concept for The Last of Us Online during this time, their vision crystallized, the gameplay got more refined and satisfying, and we were enthusiastic about the direction in which we were headed. In ramping up to full production, the massive scope of our ambition became clear. To release and support The Last of Us Online, we would have to put all of our studio resources behind supporting post-launch content for years to come, severely impacting development on future single-player games. So we had two paths in front of us: become a solely live service game studio, or continue to focus on single-player narrative games that have defined Naughty Dog's heritage. We are immensely proud of everyone at the studio that touched this project. The learnings and investments in technology from this game will carry into how we develop our projects and will be invaluable in the direction that we are headed as a studio. We have more than one ambitious brand new single player game that we're working on here at Naughty Dog, and we cannot wait to share more about what comes next when we're ready. Until then, we're incredibly thankful for our community and your support throughout the years. Okay? So again, he didn't sign it, but you can 100% tell just from the mannerisms and the way it's written. Neil Druckmann wrote that. If you don't know, Neil Druckmann is the head of Naughty Dog right now. Okay? Bullshit. That entire story is bullshit. The facts don't align with what he says in his post. Allow me to remind you of the facts of what this is. So, The Last of Us Online actually is called The Last of Us Factions. This was supposed to be the multiplayer mode included as part of the purchase price of The Last of Us 2. But did you forget about that? You probably did, because Naughty Dog has changed the narrative of this game so many times over the years to make you forget so they don't look bad. Alright? When The Last of Us 1 released, it was arguably the best narrative-based experience on the PlayStation 3, plus it had an online mode. The online mode was incredibly unique. It was purely stealth-based. Never before had you really played an online third-person game with action, but it was stealth. Sneak up from behind your opponents, take them out with takedowns or shoot them from the side. You know, have one person distract them while the other person sneaks around and gets them. It was a really fun game, and it was so unique. People were calling for more, but they never gave it. They never made any more of that. It was just essentially what came with the first game is what you got. But when they were making The Last of Us 2, they promised that they were going to have another online mode. It was going to be called Last of Us Factions, and it was going to be included as part of the price tag of the game. This was 100% all documented. It's all over the internet. All the news stories covered it. This is what Naughty Dog was saying the game was going to be. You're going to get your single-player campaign, just like Last of Us 1, and then you're going to get your multiplayer. It's all part of the same retail package, okay? All of a sudden, okay, only a few months before the scheduled release of The Last of Us 2, Naughty Dog, Neil Druckmann, came out and said, so we have an update for everyone, okay? We want to let you know that Last of Us 2's narrative mode, the one that you really care about, is about ready to go. We're very excited. We love this game. We're proud of it. We want to put it out. But the online just isn't ready yet. So what we're going to do, we're going to ask for your buy-in that hopefully you will buy this game and still play it with the promise that in the future, we're going to provide you for free a downloadable update of The Last of Us Factions. So you're going to get the multiplayer later. Buy the full game now for full retail price, and we promise you that somewhere down the line, you will get the multiplayer. Okay? Again, this was 100% promised. It's in writing. It's all over the internet. You could find it from years ago. But it's funny, no one talks about it as if it never happened. Like everyone forgot. Like we all had our mind wiped. The Men in Black came and flashed us. And we suddenly forgot that this was all promised and supposed to be included with the money we paid to play Last of Us 2. Because the entire time I was playing Last of Us 2, alright, I didn't really like the story. I liked the gameplay elements. I liked the graphics. I hated the story. And I'm like, in the back of my mind, well, even if I don't like the end of this, at least the multiplayer's coming, right? And I loved the multiplayer of The Last of Us 1. So The Last of Us 2 comes out, and what happens? The entire game blows up on the internet. Drama about, oh, it's too progressive. It's got leftist overtones. Neil Druckmann's trying to push his agendas down everyone's throat. On the flip side of that, Neil Druckmann turns it into a pro-progressive campaign. A buy of The Last of Us 2 is a strike against these bigoted haters, these prejudiced people on the internet. Every person who hates this game is a bigot and a prejudiced asshole. So buy the game for the cause of good. He literally said that. He even said that year, vote for The Last of Us 2 at the Game Awards, because a vote for the game is a vote against the haters. Then he had to remove all his social media posts about it because he looked like an asshole. But he had already said it. Okay? So basically, all this stuff goes on, and what ends up happening is the game sells like crazy, and it becomes Game of the Year because the journalists love progressive themes in video games. So the game gets Game of the Year despite the fact the story's actually fucking horribly written and atrociously executed. It's one of the most convoluted, poorly paced, poorly timed stories I've ever seen in my life. Starting in the middle, going back, going forward, going back. It's confusing as fuck. The game sucks. Story-wise. Gameplay-wise, graphics-wise, I loved it. Story elements were absolutely atrociously horrible. The whole game is like torture porn. Okay? It's trash. It's trash for fucking weak-minded people who think that kind of drivel is good. Oh, so it has violence and serious tones? It must be a great game. It's not. At least in my opinion. You can disagree. A lot of people do disagree with me. My opinion, it's one of the worst stories ever written. Okay? So the game comes out, all this controversy, all this shit. Okay? All of a sudden, you hear an announcement the next year. So what happened to the multiplayer? Where's Last of Us Factions? Oh, we have an update. There's no more Last of Us Factions. The Last of Us Factions has now expanded upon our original scope and vision. We've decided that now it's going to be called The Last of Us Online, and it's going to be our own game. Now listen, we know we had promised to you that you were going to get this Factions for free as part of if you bought the original Last of Us 2 game, but you have to, as a fan of ours, you have to give us the benefit of the doubt. We are doing the right thing. Rather than give you a half-finished, not really well-done multiplayer or just a tack-on mode, we want to make this a fully fledged online experience. Therefore, it's going to be its own game. And we know we promised you were going to get it for free, but now it's going to be its own thing you have to buy. We hope that you'll believe in us. We hope that you will come and play it later on. And of course, the more and more you hear about it, okay, you start hearing things such as live service, right? Incremental updates, all right? All the things that people don't want. You know, remember when Avengers came out and crashed as a live service game? So what ends up happening is Druckmann, in all his wisdom, thinks he sees dollar signs. And he's like, we can actually make The Last of Us Online a huge revenue boost for us. What we'll do is we'll have this never-ending online game, much like GTA Online, or much like all these other games that were planned to come out. And this is going to be our cash cow forever. People will keep buying microtransactions for seasonal outfits and little incremental updates and shit like that because they're dumb. Right? So we're going to get everyone with this shit, right? We're going to get them. But then what happens? As they're developing this Last of Us Online game, which, by the way, should have been free to begin with, they lied about that. Now, all the live service games are tanking, right? Games like Avengers launch and fail. Entire other games that were going to be based on live service, like Gotham Knights, have to change their formulas because they realize they're not going to sell. No one wants live service games. The live service games are now losing their player base. In fact, the only one that's really doing well is GTA Online, and arguably Fortnite, which really isn't as much of a live service as it is a viral meme for youngsters. So it's a little different, right? So basically, promise the world it'll be a free game just like in the first game. It's going to be a free mode. Well, we can't get it out for launch, but we promise you it's coming out. Oh, now it's not coming out at all is what we promised. It's going to be a standalone game you have to buy with a live service thing, but trust us, we know what we're doing. If you like Last of Us 2, our rabid fan base, you're going to want Last of Us Online, right? So now here we are years later. Oh, by the way, it's canceled. Now, wait a minute. I paid $60 like everybody else years ago. That $60, some of that money was supposed to go towards an online mode. And at first you told us it was coming later. Then you told us you were putting your efforts into a standalone game that was going to be amazing. So, all right, I believed you then. I believed you again. I believed you once. And like they say, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, well, shame on you. Try to fool me a third time, well, I'm not going to get fooled again. And that's exactly what they're trying to pull here. Lie after lie after lie about this online mode. What happened was they want to make their player base so gullible that they're basically like an indoctrinated group of fans who will just buy and consume no matter what it is that they put out. They'll put out a TV show of the game. You're going to buy and consume and vote that that's going to be the best game adaptation of the year. And, you know, as long as it has these progressive themes, right? Because you feel like a positive hero when you vote for The Last of Us because it's so progressive, bro. right? Not that it's a good game or it's a good show, but it's progressive, and we should all just vote for progressive themes now in the modern era. It makes you feel good. When in reality, these politics should have nothing to fucking do with these video games at all, and this is just him imposing this bullshit onto people, and that's how he's getting by. He's getting by fooling people into feeling good about spending their money on Naughty Dog. That's called brainwashing. That's like cult-like mentality behavior. That's what he's doing. It's the cult of Druckmann at this point, okay? So the hilarious part about this is, this was announced yesterday. It's canceled. No one's up in a tizzy about this. That Last of Us Factions is canceled, or Last of Us Online is canceled, and say, oh, well, at least as long as they're making another better game. Wait, what? You're owed this game. You bought it. You paid money to Naughty Dog to have this already, and you don't have it now. And now they've canceled it outright, and you're just okay with it because you want to spend more money on the next game. Are you a fucking idiot? How dumb can you be? Hey, I got one for you. If you mail Neil Druckmann $20 right now in an envelope, he'll come to your house and deliver a fucking sandwich to you in person. Oops, he canceled that offer, but thanks for the $20. You just buy our new game afterwards, right? But what are you talking about? How do you foolishly believe this nonsense and give him a pass over and over and over and over? I don't get it. I just don't understand as consumers how you could think that this guy is on the level on anything and why you would continuously support his effort to do anything. This guy is a charlatan. He's a fucking con man. And he's been fooling millions of people all over the world with this shit, and he's continuing to do it. So now we're just supposed to be okay with no online game ever. Why did the online game get canceled? Because games as a service flopped. That's the only reason. This should have been a standalone expansion to Last of Us 2 for free as promised. Druckmann was the one who made the decision in his own studio to make it its own game. He was the one who wanted to make money and milk his player base. Not us. We just wanted the mode we were promised and paid for. He ripped us off, and then he canceled the game when he couldn't see dollar signs coming out of it. Fuck you, Neil Druckmann, you greedy fuck. You're a scumbag. The way you're acting, you are a fucking scumbag. You have ripped everyone off. And you're not going to hear a lot of people complaining because you indoctrinated them into your fucking group of brainwashed people who think everything you do is above reproach. It's nonsense. This guy's crazy how he's behaving, and everyone just fucking lets it go. Oh, well. No, he owes you an online game. 100%. If he's canceling The Last of Us Online, he has to go back and provide The Last of Us Factions as promised. It's one or the other. You can't just say, I canceled the whole thing so we can make more things for you to buy. You're fucking stupid if you think that's okay. It's not okay. Anyway, that's my take. You can disagree and go ahead and disagree as much as you want, but I'm sorry. I call it like it is. How is it that everyone just forgets this shit? There's no, oh, I forgot that was even supposed to be. Why did you forget? You were owed it, right? Exactly. Bookworm says he doesn't care. He's got a TV show now, too. You're absolutely right. He's got his TV show that just got voted best TV adaptation of a game, which wasn't. The TV show dramatically changed critical elements of the game. It had episodes that had nothing to do with the plot of the game that were only in there for progressive purposes, which, again, I liked those episodes. That episode that shows, I forgot his name, the character who was just a supporting character in Last of Us 1 gets his own episode where it shows how he fell in love with another man and they had a romantic relationship in the apocalypse. There was nothing wrong with that episode. It was well written, well directed, and I actually really enjoyed it, but it has nothing to do with The Last of Us 1. It was just shoved in there to try to get these votes from progressives to say that his show is the best show of the year. Right? I said it as much when I reviewed the show earlier this year. That could have been its own standalone spin-off or movie. It didn't have to be in the show, but instead, he drops critical plot points and elements, and there's barely any zombies in the fucking show, cordyceps creatures, because he has to waste time on that shit. You know? That's the best game adaptation of the year, the one that skips half the great parts of the game. That's the best game adaptation of the year. No, the journalists voted for it because, again, it's the cult of Druckmann. They all just believe this shit. They're out of their minds. They think that this is the best content because it's progressive. Politics should not dictate quality of a game or quality of a show or quality of anything. I don't care what your fucking politics are. Anyone of any political stature should be able to play a game and enjoy it. That's the point. Is that it's supposed to unplug you from real life and put you into a fantasy situation where those politics or religion or real life occurrences outside don't affect the game, so you can enjoy a fantasy setting. And that's the key elements of a good entertaining game. Unplugging from reality. Not, oh, you took your realistic politics and superimposed them into my gameplay experience, and now it's game of the year because of that. You're out of your fucking mind. I've had enough of this shit. Okay. Well, I've now ranted and raved, and that's the game news for today. Now we have to get to shoutouts. So we start off today with Yak Almighty, who became a member for 29 months and says, God of War Valhalla is amazing. I hope you'll check it out. I've heard it's about, what, 8 hours long or something saying like that? Like it's a shorter DLC. Well, not shorter DLC, but it's not a full game. But it has some story elements to it. So people are saying the story elements are fun. You know, they kind of, apparently from what I don't understand, they misrepresented it at the Game Awards. At the Game Awards, they make it just look like a combat challenge. And even though that is the majority of it, there apparently are some interesting story mechanics in it. So maybe eventually I'll get around to it. I don't know. I'll think about it. When I play DLCs, no one really cares. I'm just being honest. Usually when I play a DLC, no one gives a shit anymore, which sucks because there's great games with great DLCs out there, and I usually can't get attention on them. We'll see if I play it eventually or not. We'll find out. Tommy Tampon did a super chat. It says, thanks for the stream, buddy. I have no idea where that comes from, but okay. Thanks, Tommy, for the super chat. Okay. Okay. Oh, I received 2 different tips. The first tip actually came in the other night. So it was yesterday, I want to say. And this is interesting. Someone wrote an insanely huge message with this tip, and I wanted to read it out. And if I remember correctly, I read it yesterday on my day off. I'm totally okay with this. So let me, first of all, play the animation if I can get it to load. So this was a $12 tip. Excuse me. From, does it have a name? No. So I guess it's an anonymous $12 tip. Okay. So here's what they have to say. Ready? It's a giant message, so get ready. I'll read it first, then I'll respond to it. Hey, Phil, I wanted to say I appreciate your giving Baldur's Gate 3 a go. It's always interesting to see someone play it for the first time. There's nearly a limitless way of completing the various missions. Some people have come up with very imaginative methods to complete quests. However, I unfortunately have to tell you I will not be a recurring viewer on your streams. You're correct in saying I do have an unfair expectation that this becomes the main singular focus on your channel during this playthrough. Baldur's Gate 3 requires a lot of immersion and thought. The reason people like me love it so much is how immersive and intuitive the game is. It only works if you fully immerse yourself into the masterpiece and use your problem-solving skills to really think about how to approach any given situation. I tried to tune into some of your other streams recently, like Call of Duty, Street Fighter, even Like a Dragon, which just seems like a whole side quest video game, laughing out loud. These are games that are so simple you can pick them up and put them down. Now, what's funny is it ends. I think the person had more to say, but didn't realize that tipping has a character limit. So that's the end of what they said, and I can't read the rest of their message. Okay? Here's what I have to say about that. All right? Thank you. I completely understand. I appreciate your notion and your sentiment. I really appreciate your contribution. And I'm just happy that you checked me out. Thanks. If I'm not your cup of tea because I'm a variety content creator and I balance a lot of games, I get that. There's a lot of streamers out there that's not what they do. They focus in on one game for a month, and that's all they play. And that way a game like Baldur's Gate 3 can be hyper immersive, and you're in that universe every day, and you're thinking intuitively, and you're enjoying the lore of each character, and you know what I mean? It's very... There's even content creators that They play games, and then they do supplementary video series of that game based on the story and the lore and stuff like that. I've seen people like that, where they go crazy over a game universe, and that's cool because their whole viewer base are kind of like that, right? For the 15 years that I've been a content creator, that's never been me. Even the games that I've become the most immersed in, you could argue this year that probably that would be Street Fighter 6. Even then, I'm always balancing it with other stuff. Why? That's been the secret to my success, is that I'm never only just a one-trick pony kind of guy. And by the way, that is not a criticism of people who are just focusing on one game, but that's the saying, the one-trick pony, right? You just do the one thing over and over. That's not me. I'm kind of the jack of all trades and the master of none. There's very few games that I'm great at, right? Maybe you could argue, Street Fighter, old school Street Fighter, or the like. But outside of that, I'm not great at most stuff that I play. The difference here is that because I am a jack of all trades, I have a viewer base that is spread out. For example, right now on my pre-stream, or podcast, I have 653 people on the stream, and we're all going to be enjoying Baldur's Gate 3 in a few minutes. But then later tonight, on my late stream, when I play Street Fighter 6, most of them won't be here, but there'll be a different crowd. And then tomorrow when I play RoboCop, probably a lot of the Street Fighter crowd won't be there, but different people will be. And hence, I can have a channel that brings in a few hundred viewers a stream, but has over 600 members. And hence, I can have a channel that even though only gets maybe a few hundred views to maybe tops 1,000 views on a video, I'm making enough money to make a living. Because everyone likes the variety I do and supports it. You get it? That's the key to my success. No one is really like that. There are some, but no one is really like that on YouTube. There's basically, most people are jumping on trends. They're focusing on one thing, or they're a specialist of one thing. And I've never done that. All right? And that's a good thing. I feel like because of the way that I've built my business and the way that I built my presence on YouTube, that's why I'm still pertinent and relevant. While other people, a lot of people of my contemporaries, especially people that were around 15 years ago, they faded away. They're barely existing. Or, on the flip side, they had to sell out. They had to become these big shills, these big paid promotion people. Their content doesn't feel genuine anymore. It's like you're watching an advertisement, right? I've been true to myself for 15 years, and I've enjoyed a presence on the internet of variety, and that's kept me going. So I hear you. If you're someone who came to my channel, and you're like, wow, Phil's playing Baldur's Gate 3, but then you realized I only played it twice that first week. I'm playing it today, but I'm not playing it again till Monday, but then I'll play it again on Wednesday. Oh, I can't wait. I'm someone who wants that content every day, all day. That's not me. I do so many variety of things. That's a good thing, because then there's all these people who enjoy what I do, and they all get a little bit something different out of my content. I'm pretty sure if you're into Baldur's Gate 3, you probably didn't care for my Modern Warfare 3 stream the other night, but that stream was amazing. That was one of the best streams I've put out in years because it was so hilarious, over-the-top hilarity with dual guns. It's just silly shit. It's fun, but it's for a certain audience, right? So, all that being said, thank you for giving it a look. Thank you for the support. I appreciate you. I'm happy you gave me a shot. And if it's not your cup of tea, that is fair enough. And at least you were nice about it. Unlike some of these people who I hate to say are a little bit elitist, demanding. They want the instant gratification. Well, if you're not playing this game every day, well, fuck you. You're a piece of shit. Wait, what? Wait a minute. Just because you don't like my style, just because it's not in line with your expectation, doesn't mean you have to be rude about it. I get it. I'm not for everyone. I'm definitely not for most modern people. Like, beyond my viewer base, if you look on YouTube, my viewer base is mostly people in their early to late 20s or their early to late 30s. And then my next category is actually people in their early to late 40s into 50s. You want to know what my smallest category of viewers is? Teens from 13 to 17. No one of that viewer base watches me. They're the ones who make fun of me on the internet. They're the ones who watch the toxic people because they don't get it. They don't understand that, oh my God, Phil doesn't play like everybody else, so how could that work? Well, it does, but you don't agree with it, and that's okay if you don't agree with it. But to be rude about it or to say that I suck because I'm not doing what you like is bullshit. So I appreciate you. This is definitely a much more mature take, and I really, really enjoyed having you around. Sorry it didn't work out. Thank you for the support, and happy holidays. Okay, moving on. I received a $20 tip from 1 Minute Man. He says, keep up the good work, Phil. Thank you. 1 Minute Man. Short and sweet and positive message. Thank you, 1 Minute Man, for the tip. I appreciate that. And indeed I will. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep it moving. I'm going to keep everything going here. Thank you, 1 Minute Man. That gets us up to $32 $32 in tips. So that means we are closer. I don't know what's going on here. There we go. We are closer to the tier 1 goal. As I said, my goal is 660 members over both streams, and to try to hit that tier 1 tips goal on each of the 2 streams I do today. Thank you guys again in advance for any support. I really appreciate that. Looks like that's about it. So I guess we're going to adjourn the show, and we're going to take a brief break for me to use the restroom, and then we're going to jump into Baldur's Gate 3 again today. All right? So far, as I've told you guys, I really, really enjoyed this playthrough, although I feel like this is a playthrough because I'm a first-time player of this style of game, the whole D&D style. I feel like a toddler, you know, learning to tie his shoes. Seriously, like, and I don't like that. I like that if I'm in a game, I can jump into a game within the first few hours and I can really feel competent. So the hand-holding isn't as prevalent, and it's more of an organic experience. With this game, it is so complex with all the different systems and things in place that it's slow, right? And again, as long as you guys are okay with that, because it seems like you are. In fact, I got a lot of very supportive comments over the last few days. Like, don't feel bad that you're playing slow. It's like this for everyone at first. You have to learn. Once you start, you know, once you get a certain length into the game, you'll start to feel more at home and comfortable. And that's when you hit your stride and it'll be better. Right now, it's your learning curve right now. And you're going to be, basically you're getting an education. When you're getting an education, it can't be as fun because you feel nervous or you know what I mean? You're trying to learn so much. I feel like that, like, every time I play this game, 6 hours in, I'm absorbing like a sponge. All this information's coming at me of all these different elements of how the game plays. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm trying to get it, you know. So, hopefully, you guys still are entertained. And hopefully today we have fun. I don't know, we're in a town right now. Like I said, you guys have said to talk to this guy. Maybe we can recruit him and go from there. We'll start exploring the rest of the town and see where it leads. I don't know if there's any questing in this town or whatever. It should be a chill time. I hope you guys will stick around. Like I said, there's over 600 of you on the stream right now. Despite the fact that I'm going to use the restroom quickly, I hope you don't go away because I'm coming right back for 3+ hours of Baldur's Gate 3. And you know what? If any of you, after today's Baldur's Gate stream, decide to check out any of my other streams, my Street Fighter stream tonight, RoboCop tomorrow, Like a Dragon tomorrow night, my reality show, my React show on Sunday over on my sister channel, DSP Reacts. If any of you check out that other stuff, that's a bonus for me. Like, I get that there's probably going to be a few hundred extra viewers on the Baldur's Gate streams just for Baldur's Gate. But, man, if you would give it a chance, you know, on the other content, maybe you'll like it. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll be like this person who said, you know what, it's not for me. I only just wanted to watch Baldur's Gate and you're not playing it enough. And I hear that, and that's okay. But if you'll give me a shot on everything else, I would appreciate that. Because, you know, I like being a variety creator. It's what's kept me going. Because people say over the years, too, don't you ever get burnt out? Don't you ever get bored? Actually, no. And this is why. Because every day when I come to stream, I'm doing something different. It feels fresh and new. It doesn't feel like, oh, I'm doing the same game again, same thing again. Then I arguably would get burnt out. But because I jump around and I do so many different things, that's kind of why I never really get bored. I hope you get that. And if not, well, at least hopefully you'll still come back for these streams, the Baldur's Gate streams. All right? All right. Let's end the show. Thank you all for a great podcast. Man, that covered a lot. I hope that you enjoyed. Tomorrow, hopefully, we'll kind of be back to normal and not have to cram so much in. And hopefully, my actual PC components will turn on. Right? And we don't have another issue with that. And that's it, guys. Enjoy. Thank you for watching. And I hope you'll check out Baldur's Gate. And I'm sure we'll be talking a lot more about this tomorrow. But in the meantime, happy holidays to everyone. And I will see you soon.